Hey guys, welcome back to Butler Games. Today we'll be talking about the playoffs in general. We'll start with the Heat versus Celtics. Marvin, why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts on that?
I I'm a fan of it. I'm not gonna lie. Heat were given a 3% chance to take the whole series. They came out winning the first two games on the road. I think that says a lot for Miami. Um, they've played really well. They've kept Tatum to 0 field goals in the fourth quarter combined in those two games. That's impressive. Looking at stats, series is definitely not over though. Because like I said, right, Tatum hasn't scored a field goal in the fourth quarter. I'm sure he'll eventually get one of those in this series. Caleb Martin's had two really good games as well. He had 15 and 25 points, which is great, but so far in the playoffs and just overall, he doesn't normally score that much. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he starts scoring 10 and less again, which would decrease their points. But overall, it's been really entertaining, and I've been a big fan of it.
Uh, well, thing is, what does this mean for Celtics? Moving on from this, they're going away. The Heat are really good. They haven't lost at home.
There's probably no at home.
I think they'll lose at least one at home. It's just the fact of the matter. And I think they would have won both at home if they just lost. I don't know. It's kind of weird how it's working out. I think now they'll lose one at home, but I think they'll win the series in 5. But the thing is, what will happen to the Celtics moving on from here? Jaylen Brown has been in discussions of going to Rockets. It's just rumors though, so I don't know.
Well, I think there's been a discussion that he doesn't enjoy the fan base, or he doesn't enjoy how he's
The
the
secondary.
second fiddle to Tatum. Not necessarily that I think just like
It's kind of like the Kyrie
in terms of
LeBron.
appreciation.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that'll be interesting. I mean, they made it this far. I don't know, and he's eligible for a huge contract.
Yeah, and two obviously depends on whether they get eliminated or not too, right? If they're going to the finals, I don't think they'll mess with it too much. If they lose, there's definitely more room.
Well, that's why these next two games are just so important for them, because if they obviously if they get swept,
And
it'd be detrimental to.
the entire organization, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, first of all, getting started with an 8 seed.
Greatest aces of all time.
Yeah, but runner up or last year went to the finals, lost. This year gonna get swept by the 8 seed. It is just not looking.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Miami in a little bit, but I want to still stay on Celtics. Now Joe Mazzulla's been in a lot of I mean he's been in a lot of headlines in terms of, is he over his head? Is he making the right adjustments? Why isn't he making the certain adjustments? Why is he making certain adjustments? So what do you think about how much Joe Mazzulla has impacted this series?
This is his first playoffs as head coach. Took that step throughout the regular season. Because Ime. I don't know. I think he's getting used to it. They did well in the first round. I don't know. I don't think it's Missoula's fault, but I do think he has to make a certain adjustment. I don't know what yet, but he has to figure that out for himself and find the right guy. Because Tatum clearly is not scoring in the fourth quarter a field goal. Maybe try a different lineup, kind of move things around, or use him as a different piece.
He inserted Grant Williams, which was, I think, a great move. I mean, obviously he poked the bear, but in terms of his play on the offensive end, he was really good in the fourth quarter. That was a good move.
He had like 4 field goals before.
Yeah,
pretty consistent.
Also, I mean, yeah, he's got to get. I mean, first game Tatum didn't have a single field goal attempt, and this last game, all his field goal attempts were threes in the fourth quarter. I mean, whether that's on Tatum just not, and whether that's on Tatum settling, or I don't know, he's got to get Tatum more opportunities starting in the rim. And also, you're just leaving Jimmy Butler one-on-one against anyone he wants, really.
Yeah, and no offense, Derek, like he is not gonna ever do the defensive job against him. Maybe switch it up.
I mean, that's why they put in Grant Williams, but that didn't do anything either.
It did it a little bit. I think he had more of an effect than Derek White regarding him.
Oh yeah,
Against the team.
well, so Garrett White is just too little.
Yeah, he's
And Grant Williams, the idea of it is that he could impact. I mean, he's bigger. You know, we saw him have an impact on Giannis a year ago in the playoffs. But the reality is, I think you just got to double Jimmy Butler. I mean, obviously, you don't want Jimmy Butler to beat you, and the other guys have been beating you. But I would rather bet on Duncan.
the other guy's beating me every game instead of Jimmy.
And that's what the Knicks kind of did, and it didn't work out.
It didn't work out completely, but they 6 games against 5 to Milwaukee.
I would rather keep Kyle Lowry open or one of those guys. Maybe not Duncan Robinson. He's a very good. He's a top 3.
Or Spruce. I mean, just any of them really.
But Kyle Lowry, especially like get Marcus Smart to help. He is someone that will like, poke the ball out, get him worried a little bit. And he's a hustler, so you'll run back, get to Kyle Lowry. I think in time, there's help defense. You have Al Horford, Tatum, Robert Williams in the paint, ready to help. I think they got to figure out defensively wise. I don't think offense is too much problem. Tatum just got to figure out his groove in the fourth. I think that's all they have to do. Really.
I mean, we saw this in every single series early on. They're like so. The Celtics just can't seem to keep up with the other coaches' adjustments. As well, like against the Hawks, first 2 games were kind of dominant by the Celtics, and then they went.
Snyder made adjustments.
Snyder made great adjustments. Trae Young got going, and the Celtics didn't adjust on defense, and the Hawks gave them a serious run for their money. We saw that. We kind of saw that against the 76ers to a lesser extent. The first game, they had him beat on lockdown when he was there.
Yeah. So it's game 2.
Yeah. And then next 3 or 4 games, I can't remember. He had really good nights. Obviously game 7 they switched that up. They put Horford on him, they kind of fronted him, and
I just think they have a great defense team. Like first round, they should have doubled Trae Young. He was killing them.
Yeah.
And I think if you would have, it would have been maybe a sweep, but I think it would have definitely been like game 5 series.
Yeah, so I think Missoula has weaknesses. The other question is though, how vocal are the players about it too? Though how are they saying much about it? Or are they just kind of trusting Missoula and hoping he knows what he's doing instead of them being like, "Yo, what if we try this, coach? Let's try this."
That's also the duty of a coach to empower your players, and I feel like that's something Ime Udoka did really well. I mean, you saw Marcus Smart take that leadership role, and from my point of view, it hasn't been happening as much this year. I don't know if that's just because they're not showing it on camera as much, but it looks like this team lacks leadership or lacks a drive. So
there was actually a video that I saw about the Heat actually did very smart, or Jimmy. Eric Spoelstra, he had a certain play, how to run to score in the last couple seconds.
Yeah.
And he said, Jimmy told me, I'm going to be that guy. And that was not like the original plan. But he said, I'm going to be that guy. And Eric Spoelstra was like, what if you don't get it, And he said, I will get it. And that just showed like, he's a star player and he knows he's got to take over right now. His coach is a great coach. Top coach, should have won a coach of the year. By now.
I was too. I was surprised. I saw that and I was like, hold up. He hasn't.
But Jimmy took the leadership of the team. I think he did also last night when Grant Williams poked the bear. And his other guys started to fire up. And I think the Celtics need to figure that out too, with Tatum and Brown trying to get their other guys.
So we saw that kind of with Tatum, like game 7 went out and set the tone. But just in general, he hasn't been. It doesn't look like he's really, especially these last couple games, these last 2 games against the Heat. He's not demanding the ball. He's not, getting to his spot. He's kind of just going with the flow.
Exactly.
And that's not what Jamie does. That's not what any star player does, except LeBron. But he is the flow.
Yeah, and if
But-
it takes you to game 7 to have that, then it's too late. It could be too late. They got lucky they were in game 7. In this case, right, they might not get to a game 7. So if you don't get to a game 7 and you can't get that from Tatum until game 7, then good luck.
I think they need to play Malcolm Brogdon way more than Derek White. Malcolm Brogdon has been very consistent. He's been a playmaker. He's been rebounding. He's been defensively as good as Derek White, in my opinion, of the effect that he's had on the court. I don't know how many minutes. Did you check how many minutes Malcolm's getting?
So last game, Malcolm had 26 and White had 23. And also to back to the Grant Williams numbers, he played 25 minutes, had 20 or not, had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block. So he had pretty solid minutes. I will say he did get a lot more minutes than I thought he did. But either way, he had good production in those minutes.
I just don't see, like what you said, any scenario in which Malcolm Brogdon should be getting less than 30 minutes. He's a starting point guard in this league, and he's the Celtics are lucky enough to have a good enough team for him to come off the
And he proved he was 6th man of the year.
Yeah. He should be closing those games. He should be playing 30 plus minutes because he is their one true playmaker. I know we saw Marcus Smart have 11 assists in game 1, but he doesn't control the flow like Malcolm Brogdon does, and Malcolm Brogdon can get through his spots. So I think he should be closing out those games.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, and in the playoffs too, they both played all 15 games, and they're both averaging 28.3 minutes. So they're averaging the exact same amount of minutes.
Which should not be it.
Well, so round 1, Derek White was really good, but
Yeah.
that's because Trae Young was on. He's able to take advantage of the smaller defender. And the Heat don't have a defensive liability out there. So Derek White has not been nearly as effective. And
Yeah.
that's when you need guys that can contribute like Malcolm Brogdon.
I think Missoula's gotta figure that out. Give Malcolm Brogdon 32 minutes now and get Derek White like 26, 24,
Yeah.
a little lower. Malcolm Brogdon, dude, he is consistent too. He's got that floater back, he can shoot threes. As you saw last night, he was setting the tone in the 4th quarter. He was boom, steal, fast break, dunk it, go, play defense again. And I think if you have especially him and Marcus Smart on, they're both a lot of people. They will talk, and they're good at communicating. Marcus Smart, great defender. Malcolm Brogdon's pretty good defender. They can both score. I think they need to use those assets also a little more.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's talk about Miami now. We dove into what Celtics are doing wrong, but what Miami's doing right is, like we said, the role players are usually
Stepping up.
they're stepping up. Usually you see role players play better at home, but then we haven't seen that. We've seen that from Miami, but they've been consistent throughout the playoffs, and that's
Whether they're on the road or out.
yeah, and that's just really shocking to see. Obviously, not anymore. But at the beginning of the playoffs, we were all super concerned about Miami's depth, their supporting cast, but we haven't seen any of that this playoffs, and it's
Yeah.
and they're defining these series. Obviously, Jimmy Butler took over that Bucks series. We all thought he carried them that series, so I thought at least against the Knicks. The Knicks aren't going to let him do that. They're going to make the others step up, and they have it in this series as well. It's just really they are defining this series. They're defining they are what makes them, in my eyes, one of the favorites to win the championship.
I agree.
Eric Spoelstra, that's the thing with him.
Yeah.
Why he's such a great coach. If this guy has 3 shots in a row, you can tell he's feeling it. He says, all right, I'm going to keep you in it. Even though you're usually a role player, you're feeling it, keeping you in. Why not? Okay, you get cold, we're going to sub you out, get you a little break. Then we'll put you back in and try to get you heated up again. And I think a lot of coaches could learn from that is, okay, he's a role player. Keep him in. He's feeling it. Why take him out for your star? Because Jimmy Butler, I know, got subbed out a couple times because Killamar was feeling it or something. And, they get it switching around. They give Jimmy a little break. Watch it. Boom. You go in. Jimmy Butler also goes off because there's 2 threats on the court.
Yeah.
And then Bam goes off. 3 threats on the court. And then, look, they're all watching them. Kicking out Duncan, Kyle they can hit threes. And they know how to move the ball very well.
Kyle Lowry, his ascension in these playoffs. Obviously, He wasn't great during the regular season. He was all right, but he wasn't great. But what he's done in these playoffs is
He stepped up,
he stepped up big time, and he showed that he's still Kyle Lowry.
and that's why he made it to the finals that one year.
Yeah, I like too about Miami how their 2 stars, if they know they're not having the best games, they know their players are feeling it too, they will share the ball. I mean, it's just obviously everything about last game, right? So Jimmy and Bam combined for 15 out of their 23 assists. That's their 2-star players getting most of their assists because they trust their players. They know they can score. And Duncan Robinson last game, 20 minutes, 15 points. And also back to even Milwaukee series, right? Duncan Robinson played like half the regular season because he started getting ice cold.
Yeah.
But Coach Spo said, hey, you know what? We know you can shoot. We know you can score. We'll try playing you again. And it worked out really well for them. He scored for them. Everyone scored super efficiently in that series, which was good for them. But just the fact of him playing people that don't always play is great because not every coach says it. Like, oh, you don't play. We're just going to keep you on the bench. We'll keep our 8-9 guys that we aim to
Is
play.
Tyler Hero out for the playoffs?
Yeah, I think he was out 6 weeks. So
I
he's
think I
probably
saw
out
something
for
that if they meet the finals, he could.
There's possibly a chance
Okay.
probably, but he was listed out 6 weeks, like few days after he got the surgery. Yeah.
I have a question for both y'all and tell me if you want to answer. Do the Heat want to play Tyler Hero if he's in the finals? And how they're rolling right now?
I think at that point it would just depend on what they're doing in the finals.
I would bring him off the bench.
Yeah, put him as 6 man
It
again and see
doesn't
what
not
he
feel
does.
it again. But Tyler Hero.
Overall, I think in this case I would just say I trust Coach Spo. Whatever he does, I think is going to be a good move.
I
He's
do
proven
think
himself.
that would be an interesting thing if he does become healthy if they make it to the finals.
Or even all the deep. I don't know
What will the decision be? Will Tyler Hero? Will he put him on the start top? Will he give him little minutes off the bench? What is gonna happen there? And I do think it will be a big effect. I don't know for the positive or the negative. Because if Tyler can't score, he's pretty useless.
Well, y'all remember when Cam Reddish came back from injury a couple years ago for the Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah.
He kind of started off slow. He came in like for some garbage time minutes, and then in Game 6, he had 20 points, and he provided a huge spark. So I think that's something they could do with Tyler Hero, kind of play him in some garbage time minutes if they need to, or play him in some playing like in
less valuable minutes.
Yeah, and then eventually, when you need to make the adjustment, he'll be ready and go.
Yeah, I just think that'll be a big step.
So let's move on to Lakers versus Nuggets.
Also 2-0.
Also 2-0.
Not looking good for the Lakers.
Yeah, not
But
for sure. But the Lakers are also undefeated at home.
Both teams have the best home records in the playoffs right now, so it still makes me nervous. I am going for the Lakers, but they have proven they can win at home.
Yeah.
They will win at home in the playoffs. So if they can keep that up,
Yeah.
they'll still need to take one on the road.
gotta keep in mind, they have LeBron. They have Anthony Davis. LeBron was a bit cold. He couldn't really hold on to the ball very well. Being thrown around.
Just had some
everywhere.
butterfingers there a few times.
Missed a layup that he should have made.
Didn't even get the dunk up on the fast break.
But I did see videos and I watched a little bit of the game. The refs. What are your thoughts about the refs? I personally didn't think they were the best.
I don't know. I just
It
refs
was a
are always
physical game.
so terrible that I just can't determine the outcome of a game on the ref.
And at this point, if it's 2 5-point games, yeah, the refs will do something, but for the most part, the Lakers put themselves in that before the refs were able to affect it too much.
So I want
in that last.
to
minute.
talk about how the Lakers put themselves in that, in my opinion, because we saw they were up.
They came back the first game.
They were up double digits,
And then they lost the
late
second.
in the third and kind of in the fourth, and then Coach Ham, Jamal Murray, not to mention, was really struggling in the first 3 quarters.
Mhm.
Yeah, Jared Vanderbilt as primary defender. Yeah, Coach Ham did not. He played
Vanderbilt had 2 minutes in the
in the
fourth quarter.
fourth quarter. Jamal Murray had 23 points. Why not put in Jared Vanderbilt? I don't get it. Also, secondly, we saw the first game. There's the infamous Hachimura on Jokic is it going to work? Well, the Nuggets came out right away and put Aaron Gordon in the corner, and they kind of just abused that the wide openness, I should say, the openness that Jokic was able to create with kind of two defenders on him. And then anyway, it just Ham's adjustments are like with Missoula, they lack. They sometimes he makes the right adjustment, but it's too late, and
Or he
sometimes
doesn't keep it throughout the whole game.
exactly. He tends to go back to his normal ways, and that's like playing D'Angelo Russell late in the fourth. That made no sense because D'Angelo Russell's been terrible this year,
Especially on defense, that's what
Yeah.
they needed.
He's he's lost himself a lot of money. That's the opposite of Austin Reeves has gained himself a lot of money.
Mhm.
I want to talk about Austin Reeves too.
He's had great games.
Yeah,
great
okay.
games.
I think
2 20-point games.
I think LeBron has to do what he did to Ty Lue when he was on the Cavs. He's gonna just take over as the coach. Ty Lue really didn't do much. LeBron did it. He said, "So this guy, in. I want him in because he has certain talents that we need right now." And
Yeah.
he would just take over, and I think LeBron has to do that again. And coach for Lakers, if you watch him, he's never amped up. Like he never goes crazy or anything. These some guys like he just stands there basically like, "Good shot, dude." He's gotta yelling at him and be like, "Let's go, guys. We gotta lock in, start scoring some buckets." And Ruby, I don't think he played too much of the fourth, did he? He shot 8 for 9 field goals. I think they should put him in the last 5 minutes for the rest of the game. He's feeling it, give him the ball, let him try to figure out if he can't get a shot up, he's gonna kick it out because that's the type of player that he is. And I think it's a lack of coaching, the lack of LeBron not being able to hold on to the ball, the lack of everything, honestly.
Anthony Davis scoring again. He had that problem again.
Yeah.
He got 18, but you want more than that.
Why-
Especially after a 40-point game.
Yeah.
Why is Vanderbilt not getting minutes anymore? I don't see it.
Well, he got
Why?
minutes again at work
Just not
until the fourth quarter when they stopped playing him. But also Ruby, he played 10 minutes in the fourth, shot 1 shot, missed, but he did have 2 points off free throws, and he had a steal and an assist.
I don't think the coach realizes why they were up.
I don't think so.
It was because of Vanderbilt's defensive
Yeah.
talent.
And
Look at
Jamal
Jamal
Murray
Murray.
not being effective. And Jokic, I mean, he had a amazing triple double,
He's-
but that was a subpar game in terms of Jokic standards,
Mhm.
and that's something you gotta take advantage of.
Vanderbilt, if you started Jamal Murray, he would have never scored 23 points in the fourth quarter. And they still they won by like what, 6-5? Something like that. And gosh. And I know Vanderbilt would have made him maybe score 15, not 23 though.
The ironic
That is
thing too is, right,
absurd.
Darvin Ham was hired as a defensive coach. Yet here we are saying he doesn't know what he's doing on defense. How is that the problem? I don't understand.
It's really weird why the Lakers got him, but I think for another day. But they got him for Russell Westbrook. He's gone.
That's true.
What's the point now? I guess I don't know. I guess he really just.
Well, I think at the time they were like, yeah, there's no way we're gonna be able to trade Russ. Might as well get someone that can maximize Russ. That's a fan of Russ. That
Maybe
that
that's
also can get us back to our defensive ways. Like Frank Vogel, he was a defensive base.
Yeah.
And that's why they won the championship through their defense. Adam LeBron's excellence and AD's excellence on offense. And obviously, I mean, LeBron's not the same player. That's not saying he's still not one of the best players
He's
in
been very
basketball.
consistent.
He can't make a 3, but that's okay because he has dominated other ways. But he can't carry the offense anymore. And AD has shown that he can. I mean, he can certainly.
He can, but he won't.
And
Yeah.
so, and Austin Reeves has been great. He's had 2 20-point games, and then you have 1 negative.
And he had 8 and 5 assists in the 2
Yeah.
games as well.
And yeah. So
What does it mean though for the Lakers if they lose a single game at home throughout this next?
well, I think they're done.
Oh, they're done if they lose one at home, I
Yeah.
think.
But
Because they're already
Well, what does it
obviously-
mean if they win both? Do they have a chance?
Yeah,
They just go
for
home.
sure.
well, they have a chance, but I don't think they win
I mean,
Game 5 in Denver.
yeah, I think, and if they do, they probably lose the one at home. I do think this, if the Lakers have a chance, that most likely will go to 7, and they'll have to win that game in
Yeah.
Denver.
Well, if they win the 2 home games,
They'll need
I
to
think
win their
I
home
think they
games.
go.
They'll need to win their home games. I think once they lose the home game, they're done for.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously
I know.
anything is possible.
You still have to be aware. You have LeBron James.
Yeah, and they can definitely still win on the road.
AR
Pull it,
15. He's
True.
scoring 20 right now per game.
So,
D'Lo is cold too.
Yeah.
Which does not help on the offensive side.
It
but
doesn't.
also
Schroeder
you
doesn't
can't
have
you
D'Lo.
can't keep him in the game because he's gonna get
Yeah.
abused.
Especially if he's not scoring well,
But
you know you're
Schroeder-
not gonna have him in on defense.
Yeah.
Or he's not gonna help
Yeah,
you.
but
I
Schroeder-
like Shooter's defense the last series. He hasn't been great on offense yet, but
Yeah,
that's
he
okay.
shot really bad last
That's
game,
fine.
but his defense,
He had AD and he scored 40 the first game.
yeah.
Put Schroeder against Jamal Murray.
Mhm.
Make him score less. Schroeder
Well,
will
I think you just played Jared Vanderbilt more.
Yeah, I think so.
play either one. I want
Play
one of
both.
those guys.
Play both. And then you have Davidson too. You're great.
They are, yeah, yeah.
But I want to. So let's flip to Denver now. Jokic has been arguably the best player in the NBA. Well, I'm gonna say he is the best player in the
Yeah,
NBA.
I don't care that Joel won MVP. I know originally I said he should have, but that quickly changed. I know.
Well, it's a regular season award.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I know it was because of the playoffs, but he quickly showed that that award was given to the wrong person.
Yeah.
He is the guy in the playoffs.
I saw this funny NBA's burner. I think that's who posted it. But it was like that the cycle memes like it said Jokic amazing game and it was a circle and it was just one circle and it was like we are here. I mean he just never plays that and it's incredible and what he does. I mean he got another triple double.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's tied for first all time in playoff triple doubles for one playoff run.
Yeah, I know he has the most. I think he got the most with like 20 and 10, or not 20 and 10, 30 and 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious of how these next couple games are going to be because the Nuggets have had perfect games,
True.
games, and barely won.
Lakers had a perfect
What
first.
does
I
that
actually
mean?
disagree. I think the Nuggets played like crap last game. And
Jamal Murray had 23 in the fourth.
I know.
Jokic had a triple double. Michael Porter Jr. had
Jamal had a double with
16.
rebounds.
Yeah, but
Jamal's had 4 steals both games. I don't think that'll hold up either.
and Bruce Brown off. First game.
But they-
Same with contiguous
Yeah,
column.
that's the thing about the Nuggets. They're like that. It's not like they're a bad. They're
Yeah,
the number
no.
one team for a reason.
But I
So,
don't think it'll
expect-
happen each game. And that's, I think,
Well, why not? Because it's happened each game so far.
2 games.
Well, I mean in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, Jamal Murray, and I guess he's been pretty good for the most part. He had like 1 bad game.
Yeah.
But Bruce Brown, Michael Porter Jr., you don't really know how many points you're getting from them most of the time.
Yeah, but you'll.
Contiguous column.
Yeah, you definitely don't expect 20 plus.
Or first game.
Yeah. Yeah, you
But
don't
just
get 8
this is
afterwards.
like I think the Nuggets did not play well last game, and they are yeah, and then the
Yeah,
fourth quarter
no,
happened,
no.
and then the fourth quarter happened, and they
Blew everything up.
and then last game obviously
Well-
they played really well. Fourth quarter happened, they sucked, they still won. I think that's a positive in my opinion. They sucked in the fourth quarter and they still won.
The Lakers suck more though.
Jamal
scored
game one, the
20.
Lakers had a great game.
Yeah, but I'm-
or they had a great second half.
Yeah.
And
Just
they
not good
lost. And that to me, everyone's like, oh, that benefits the Lakers because they haven't been playing well and they still won. They haven't been playing well and they lost. Or no, I said that bad. Whatever.
They've been playing well and they lost.
Yeah.
Well, so Nuggets were down because they were not having a good game. The Lakers were not either having a good game in the second game. They go perfect in the fourth. They win it. Yeah, I just think moving on forward from that, if they just play like what they did through the first 3 quarters, they're gonna lose it.
I agree. I don't
If
think the
they-
Lakers didn't have a good game last game either. Last game was just a bad game overall for the most part for both teams.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the fourth quarter, Jamal Murray said, "Hey, I'm going to win the game for us." He got 23 points. The Lakers got 24.
Yeah. But the Lakers don't have someone like Jamal Murray. I mean, in terms of like just a spark score. I mean, they have Anthony Davis and LeBron who can get you buckets.
I mean, Love could be a spark scorer.
but not,
More
not
could be a
on a
spark
Jamal
scorer.
Murray.
No.
Love could be.
They've got 3 pump
You saw against the Grizzlies 31.
But D'Lo's not going to be playing because the Nuggets have figured out how to.
I think if
expose D'Lo.
he's powerful enough on offense, he'll play, and they could put Davis and Schroeder or Davis and Vanderbilt. They still have defenders they can put in. I think if he's scoring well enough on offense, his defensive lack won't hurt them as much. But if he's not scoring and he's not playing defense, that just hurts on every level.
Yeah.
So if he can score, I don't think it'll hurt him as much.
Yeah, but I mean, that's my problem. He doesn't always score.
Yeah.
He's really
And
inconsistent.
I think that's where Ham too, he needs to figure out. I think he needs to tell D'Angelo, you need to be hot or you don't. Otherwise, that'll depend your minutes in the game. You'll play 30 if you're playing well on offense. If you're not, you're probably going to be seeing 20 or less. So that way we can at least get better defense and a few other guys will score possibly same way as you, but have better defense.
Yeah, but I wanna so sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. So Jalen, not Jalen, Jay Will of ESPN. What's his first name? Is it James? Anyway, so he's an analyst. He called Nikola Jokic the greatest offensive system of all time. Do you think that is an accurate description of Jokic?
I definitely don't think it's far from accurate.
I do think he is one of the. I don't think he is the greatest. I do think he's one of the greatest offensive systems player out there.
Well, yeah, like as in terms of a player, you build your offense around.
I think
the best.
He's a top 3.
I haven't thought about it enough. I think to say he is number 1 yet, but he definitely is top 3, one of the best, for sure. Like I said, I just haven't had enough thought about
I mean,
this.
top 3 is amazing.
Oh,
stuff
for sure.
And
I mean,
At
all
such a
of
young
players.
age too.
Yeah, it's really incredible. And I think, and obviously LeBron's going to be up there as well.
I have the wrong one.
Yeah.
He was prime.
But yeah, it's just really incredible what Jokic has done. I think, I don't think we are taking it for granted. But I mean, it's just watching him has been like a spiritual experience.
Especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's
We're watching future, possibly all-time greatest
yeah, I think so.
happening in front of us
Yeah.
right now in the playoffs. He's killing everyone. He had a 30-20-10 triple-double first game.
Do you think
Yeah.
he's a top 5 center at this point?
All time.
Yeah.
All time?
Well,
Well, so there's gonna be Wilt,
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, Shaq, Hakeem, Kareem. No. But all right.
He can definitely end his
He's top
career.
10.
Yeah. Oh, he's top.
Yeah. He can definitely end his career top 5 too. I think his biggest lack, which I mean to an extent doesn't even matter, would be his defense.
Yeah.
But I feel
But
like to
he
an
isn't
extent
even
his
that bad.
offense is so powerful and his defense isn't weak enough to where it's really like,
I
yeah,
think-
you can't put him in this position because he's not good enough at defense. He's decent at defense, and his offense is absolutely.
I think Mike Malone's defensive scheme has been really good because he doesn't allow Jokic to switch on the perimeter,
Mhm.
and that's where he was really getting exposed versus Golden State last play.
True.
I think why the possibility of him being the greatest player of all time is like become in the future.
Yeah. Continue.
Is because he can play every position. Actually, he takes up the ball, boom, passes it.
He can do
He
it.
drives. Oh, like you see nasty passes from. He can shoot the 3, buzzer, boom, in 80's mouth. He's capable of doing everything offensively. Sometimes defensively, not too much, but he can do everything, and that's what great players are known for. So, we're witnessing a future Hall of Famer, possibly
Oh, yeah.
a greatest player of all time. I don't know though, but
Hey,
We'll
Denver
see.
Nuggets retiree. For
I
sure.
think he's already the greatest Denver Nuggets player.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
David Thompson has gotten surpassed by him.
Carmelo, but he never took it this far.
Yeah.
But so I want to move on to another segment. I'm going to call it Hall of Fame or not, I guess.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Think so?
I think so.
Well, so he's won no MVPs. He's been on a couple All NBA teams, a couple All Stars.
He's probably had
So,
defensive teams
he-
to it. Has he? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe
But
not.
I mean, he's that guy.
He is.
But his career kind of reminds me of Reggie Miller because if you look at Reggie Miller's raw stats, not even that good. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
it's like 18.
You
Going
gotta
Yeah, you're
put
right.
in the fact that that his working season is very not.
Well,
It's not even that bad. It's just not
it's
all-
not a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, yeah.
it's not.
It's not Hall of Fame.
But when you take into context what he does in the playoffs every single
I
year,
think he might be one of the great playoff.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, this run, especially if he, I mean, I think he could get to the finals. If he could
If he
even
wins
get
that,
into the conference, even beating the Bucks was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. But if he can get to the finals, somehow win it, I mean, this is potentially the greatest playoff run of all time.
And then it can-
that's all I think.
yeah, right now it looks like it'll possibly be an 8-1 seed in the finals. But if the Lakers do manage to win this, it'll be an 8-7 seed finals game. That would be just crazy.
And two playing teams.
Two playing teams.
So a
which-
playing team's guaranteed to win the championship.
yeah, and obviously it's the first time too that playing teams made it to the conference finals because it's only existed for.
I mean, the first time a playing team's ever won in the playoff series, and we could be getting two.
And you have both of them winning 2 playoff series in the
Yeah.
same playoff.
I also don't like to think, oh, Jimmy Wise, he's not considered a Hall of Famer because he doesn't have MPs, but Coach Eric Spoelstra, I think he's one of the greatest coaches out there. That's not one I had coach of the year.
Yeah,
That's true. I don't know how,
So-
especially because they were the 1 seed last year. Like that's surprising that he didn't get it.
I
last
think he
year.
came in like second or third.
Yeah, but still, like that's like just him being him, knowing his coaching talent, and they were the 1 seed, which it's normally one of the 1 seeds. I get it, and thinking he didn't get it, it's just like wow,
Yeah.
he doesn't have any. He could have gotten it last year. He didn't get that either. It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
It is.
But in my opinion, he is one of the greatest coaches ever.
For sure. I mean, he's number one in the league right now, in my opinion. I think he's top 10 of all time.
Yeah.
You could make a case for higher. I don't know. I would have to analyze it.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose.
All of him.
Hall of
Yeah.
Fame though.
I'm with you. I think an MVP.
Dude, his
puts you in the Hall of Fame.
MVP season, possibly one of the greatest seasons ever.
I mean, youngest MVP, led them to the conference final, or was that the year he tore his ACL? I can't remember. He either led them to the
before
conference
last,
final.
The year after.
I mean,
He was. one of the
yeah, I think an
greatest.
MVP puts you in the Hall of Fame. Automatically, in my opinion. Not to mention the extent.
You also have to determine who you're going to get. Like, I just Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I can see him getting it, and I wouldn't be upset if he gets it. I just think his chances are a lot lower than most other, especially MVP.
Derrick
candidates
Rose's
too.
percentage of getting a Hall of Fame is for surely way higher than Jimmy Butler's.
Higher.
Mm-hmm. Of getting to the Hall of Fame, yes.
I disagree.
I disagree, but I think they both should be. I think Jimmy Butler.
I do think they should both be in it, but I think Derrick Rose's chance of getting is higher. than
I disagree,
Jimmy
just because he only had so much longer.
I mean, he had like 3 prime years, and Jimmy Butler has had,
Butler's 6.
yeah, and not to mention great playoff runs in between.
Mhm. with only so much.
And I think an
supporting cast.
underrated year.
Well, before the years,
He's had some really good.
well, like
supporting
Philly,
Sixers.
yeah, Philly. That was an amazing supporting
Yeah.
cast, and
Timberwolves were pretty good.
well, then the next year they were worst team in the league.
Yeah.
I think that's an underrated part of Jimmy's career. He led that team to the.
Yeah, Derrick
playoffs.
Rose, I think.
Derrick Rose was on that team too.
Yeah, he's an all here team. He's actually the Shaquille O'Neal of this era.
All right, Andre Iguodala.
It's
a finals
so
MVP.
good in his prime.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
I don't know.
Him on
It
the
really is.
Sixers and the Nuggets.
I don't think he is.
Wait, not Nuggets. Right?
I don't think he is.
He has a lower chance of Jimmy and Derrick Rose, but I think he does have a chance of making.
I think he has a chance, but in my opinion, I don't think. He is.
I don't want to say honestly anything about it. I don't know.
It's
like a
very
50-50
tough. Yeah,
shot.
I agree.
It could go either way. I honestly would not be mad either way.
Yeah, I can see both ways. Like you said, I can see both happening. But in my personal opinion, if I had to choose one, I would probably go with no. But also very, very close.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. All right, Draymond Green.
Yes.
All of
He's been a part of the dynasty team. He's
True.
been a big part.
4 championships. I think like 3 or 4 All-Stars. Does he have 2 defensive player of the years or just 1? I
One.
can't remember. He has
I
1.
think he has multiple defensive teams.
Yeah,
like
yeah, for sure.
I do think.
I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's been a part of the dynasty team. He's been a big part.
And he's arguably the 3rd most important part of that dynasty. I mean,
Yeah.
Katie and Steph.
It's a bit off topic, but so first of all,
He was one defensive player.
I want to talk about John Morant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is a big topic now. He lied to the commissioner, Adam Silver. What are you doing, first of all, John? What happens going on forward? I've heard a lot of things, Charles Barkley, all of them talk about it. It's going to be an effect of where it affects the Grizzlies heavily.
I mean, I don't think he comes back to the Grizzlies. I mean, this is obviously a hot take. I think he's out for the year. In my opinion.
Honestly, I agree.
He lied to the commissioner. He flaunted a gun again. He's going to lose his Nike deal. And I like the trust that you lose from your teammates after something like that. You know, it's your second incident. You were lucky enough to get a second chance. Obviously, your off the court issues were already a topic before the gun incident. We saw it with Steven Adams. He mentioned John Morant. Well, supposedly. And then you do it again. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought the interview
Kind of hard to win your locker room back.
I don't know if you heard Jalen Rose talk about it. It was actually very interesting.
Well,
He talked after Adam, so yeah.
did
And he was like, yeah, I want to show the real John Morant.
He did
who I
one,
really did. And he was like, I know he talked to Adam Silver for like an hour or so, maybe even longer than that. They had a long conversation. And he was like, me and Jaw had a long conversation. Him lying, it hurts, of course, to him, Jalen Rose. He's like, it hurts that he lied to me too. But you can't lie to a commissioner. Dude. That is just wrong. Especially talking for hours and like seeming like I'm gonna change everything.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna do that stuff.
they went face to face. They talked face to face. Adam Silver, I don't know how many of you watched the draft lottery, but Malika Andrews interviewed him before the lottery started, right? And he seemed so sincere and like sincerely disappointed in what John Morant did too, because like he said, they talked face to face. He said Josh seemed really sincere. He seemed like he knew what he did was wrong. He wouldn't do it again. So he just seemed really disappointed too. And I know JJ Redick brought up the point too, right? He hasn't broken any laws, which originally, right, I was like, okay, yeah, that's fair. But then I also heard, I don't remember who, it might have been Barkley or someone, right? They're like, I don't care. This is the NBA now. You're not only under the law. You're a face of a franchise. You're a face of a league.
Face of a brand.
Face of a brand. Nike.
You just
A role model for kids. What are you making these kids do?
That's exactly what
There's so many non-legal things that impact people too. To where Adam's like, I don't care if
we
the law gets
watched
broken.
the before draft.
You can get suspended for a whole season, half season, whatever. But the question is, what happens with him after the suspension?
We watched before the draft lottery, and they talked to Adam Silver about John Morant, and he said millions of kids,
Look up to him.
hopefully every kid, looks up to him. Them seeing him waving a gun, think it's fine because he's doing whatever.
And I think he even mentioned
And
like it's
a
like
bad
a celebratory thing.
It's a bad role model for those kids, and John Morant is a kid too, which is also not saying
That's
very
I
good
feel like that's
example
actually
for
the
his
worst
kid.
part too, honestly.
He's, I don't know, he's kind of going insane.
Yeah, and the worst
Which
part
is
too.
unfortunate. He's a fun player to watch.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching him.
I mean,
He's really gone down on my favorite list.
Yeah, the thing that hurts him too is the person that took the Instagram live was the same person that was suspended from all home Grizzlies games for the rest of the season because of the Indiana Pacers incident. That was the same person that got suspended that he was with. That doesn't help either.
Yeah.
If you're with the person that they suspended because of what he did to another team, and then you're still hanging out with him, showing a gun with him in the car. He pulled out his Instagram. I know you can't control that, but you just have to think of what you're doing and what he's doing. Right? Like, even if you do that, be smart enough not to do it on camera and show the whole world. Or his followers and then whoever else sees it, right? Just be smart at least. If you're gonna do things like that are not illegal, right? Don't show it to everybody that looks up to you.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting thing too. And obviously I think at this point it was last weekend, so it was a week ago. So lots of things have been said, but it's very interesting. I'm curious to see what the investigation of the NBA did, what that leads them to, whether it's a whole season suspension, whether, I mean, I don't know. And then too, Nike and his other endorsements, what are they gonna do? Right? Are they gonna just say, no, we're done?
Yeah.
Maybe in a few years, if you fix yourself, we might get it back, but for now, we're done. So that'll be really interesting.
What
to
are
see.
the chances of him getting kicked out of the league?
I don't think he gets.
I don't,
kicked out,
I don't
but
think
I think
they'll
they're-
directly kick him out,
but
but
they're
Would there be a fine too?
I
probably
think he'll get fined. He'll get suspended.
suspended, fined.
I don't know if he would want him there.
I'm
I don't know
sure-
what team would want him.
I'm sure Adam Silver, whether he'll, I mean, he probably can't force it, but he'll probably very strongly push for him to get therapy or some kind of thing like that, right? And if he's still with the
Well,
Grizzlies and
I
they're
mean, he
interested
did.
in him,
He said he was.
he did it for like
to go for every day. He said he was
to
gonna go
go
every day.
for months,
If-
years. I mean, he needs to
If you
fix
watch
himself.
Jalen Rose, thing for jump, he said, I'm going to like therapist every day now. Now I'm getting myself fixed. He said that on a video, which Kevin Rose, man. Yeah, therapist doesn't see now.
Also, he wrote an apology. I don't know if it's real or not. I saw. it
Oh,
on,
the chat GPT.
Yeah, Flight Night's Instagram, and apparently, if you write in an
Apology
for my
for-
action.
It was
He's
very
respond-
similar
yeah.
to, which, I mean,
I
that
don't
could
know.
just be something, right? But it was kind of funny to watch as well, just like, how sincere is he, especially after with Silver Rose tattoo, right? Like, is he sincere about this one, or is it just a fake all along? He doesn't actually care. But the question too is, right, how much needs to be done for him to actually care, to turn himself around, fix himself? Think about how it's affecting the NBA himself, the team, his daughter, fans. I mean, so many people can be affected by this too.
He's probably lost himself tens of millions of
Oh,
dollars.
probably.
So you mentioned draft lottery, so let's talk about it. Spurs
Number
got the
one.
first pick. Shout out San Antonio.
Yeah.
Second pick, Charlotte. Third pick, Portland.
Oh yeah.
Houston 4, and then Pistons with 5, which I've heard some very
Uh,
upset things from Pistons fans saying, how can we be the worst team to get the 5th pick?
17 wins to pick the fifth pick.
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
But let's talk about what it
Antonio.
means for San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah, Victor. We all know it's gonna be Victor.
Yeah, it's Victor. There might be some like smoke screens. Oh, they may trade it, but they're taking Victor.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no.
We've developed guys out of the country as him, as we
Yeah.
talk, Tim
From
Duncan,
France, Tony Parker.
Tim Duncan, Manu, Tony Parker,
Boris
Boris Diaw.
Diaw.
Oh yeah,
We've had so many good.
Yeah.
We can develop guys like crazy, and we don't have it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Also awesome. Best case scenario for Victor, he gets to go to Spurs. I think a team that he idolized growing up, especially with Tony Parker. Popovich is arguably the greatest coach of all time. He's going to coach another 20
And-
years.
I think it's
Well,
a
the
good
interesting
culture
thing is
for
he is a free agent, so the question is, what will they sign him to, and will he want to?
Popovich?
Yeah.
Popovich or something.
Or-
Yeah, he'll sign.
Or next,
I know
He'll sign
This
for at
is-
least like a year. or
three.
more.
I think it's-
probably. I think he'll sign for a few years,
Yeah.
probably.
Try to get Victor. On.
I think
Yeah.
San Antonio also has a good culture
Yeah,
for him.
for sure.
They have so many languages spoken here.
Mhm.
It's just I don't know. It's a nice
Just
place.
the
Yeah.
diversity of the
Yeah,
culture.
diversity. Yeah.
Obviously, we have some German people here, some a lot of French influence, a lot of obviously Mexican influence. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Just a lot of different cultures. It's really cool.
Which I like, and I think it's perfect for maybe.
Yeah, and then back to Wemby's development too. I saw a notification 30 minutes ago that the Spurs are expecting Tim Duncan to regularly start showing up to Spurs practices for Wemby.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Wait, he was already kind of a part of.
I think he was part of the
Spurs
front
He was
office.
already part of
Yeah.
the franchise. I know he was like assistant coach a few years ago. I don't know if he still is, but he's been involved with them for a little while
And
now
when
too.
he gets his
But that
inside
would-
scoring like Tim Duncan and has the shooting of
Mhm.
I don't want to say Kevin Durant, but someone like Kevin Durant, he might be one of the most dominant players out there.
I mean,
Potentially.
I mean, there was people saying that they expect him to be the best player in the NBA. By
well, there's
three.
people saying he's already the best
He is the
prospect
highest.
ever,
No,
yeah.
he is. the highest prospect, according to-
according to like Shams and stuff. Yeah, but I don't know if it's necessarily accurate, but he's definitely top 3, top 2.
I think he's top 2. I mean, I never got to see Kareem, so I
Or MJ, I don't really know what their prospects.
I heard
but I know LeBron's
LeBron-
good.
Brown.
I heard you'd have been chosen over LeBron in 7-4 and plays.
I mean,
somewhat LeBron.
if you're
Denver Nuggets, I don't know.
looking at LeBron as a high schooler, 6'9", 250,
Super athletic.
and then you look at Victor
7'4",
Wembanyama, 7'4", 7'5", 210, can shoot the
Super
ball,
athletic,
can dribble, can block. I don't.
He's super athletic too.
That's really
I'm
tough.
not saying you take Victor over LeBron.
And I'm not saying I think LeBron is Victor, but either way.
We'll have to see the future to determine that. 'Cause, I would take LeBron, of course, over as we've seen.
And then I've also heard things about people saying that the draft lottery is rigged. What do you guys think about that?
Wow.
Because especially too when that picture of Wembanyama when he was, I don't know, 10, 12 of a Spurs Tony Parker jersey, right?
If the draft lottery was rigged, why would Zion go to when New York has the best odds? Doesn't make sense. Anyway,
No,
Yeah.
that is so okay. He likes Tony Parker. He's the first guy that made it to the NBA. That means nothing.
And then too how they were like, okay, so they got Duncan and Robinson at first pick. Now they get Victor too. Like, come on. It's like it's all just a numbers game. They got lucky.
and
The fans are just upset they didn't get it.
Exactly.
Victor's
They're just all
top
salty that they didn't get it.
It's just what it is.
It's just
It's
the
unfortunate,
pick
bro.
was gonna be- Yeah,
Especially the Pistons.
that's really unfortunate for the
We'll go on to the second.
well, I also just really quickly, I want to mention San Antonio's core. I think it's also really good. They got a lot of wings. Keldon, Devin Vassell,
Yeah, I was talking with my
Jimmy Sohan.
who's also we have the perfect role player. That's the issue. That's how we can win. We don't have to start get our role player.
And I saw an interesting thing too about I've talked with my friends, I agree too, right? How we're lacking at point guard, but I saw an interesting mock lineup for next year, putting Sohan at point guard.
What
That could be an interesting choice. I think that could be something to try at least.
Well, I think it's spurts making Sohan the primary distributor.
Mhm.
I think would be fun. I mean, his comp coming out of college was Draymond.
True. That's why I'm not super against it. I don't know if it would be the right fit, but I think it's worth trying.
I don't think
I would like Devin Vassell to play point guard. He's a good facilitator.
Yeah, and I think also building, more on ball,
I think it'd be good for
excellence
him.
with Devin Vassell would be,
That's true.
I think he will grow way more as a player. if
Yeah.
he-
especially because
And I
now,
like with all
now you got a guy who's probably the best pick and roll guy in the league.
Yeah.
Whether
Great
rolling
role
or
players, like you just said. You have
Yeah.
Kelvin Johnson out there. Zach Collins. Sohan.
Zach Collins was really good last year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be coming off the bench. Most likely.
Most likely.
Unless they roll Wemby out to cover.
There's a
Well,
few
that's what I'm saying. I'm
There's
like,
so many options they can have, and especially considering their youth and just building, there's so many things they can try out too.
we might have a huge line. Devin Vassell. This is the lineup I would dream about for the first time. Devin Vassell at point, Kelvin Johnson, Sohan, Victor, Zach Collins.
That'd be really-
That would be a perfect.
Or possibly, I feel like it might not be the worst we put Zach at power forward and Victor, but at the
Well,
end of the
yeah,
day,
yeah.
it's only a little.
I
bit.
just-
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want Victor. He's too skinny. That's the thing.
Well, and that's
That's
also
what we're-
He's
it's
already
like-
got Giannis.
so like I think the same thing with Chet. Like you could play him at center on obviously on
Even
offense,
better than
but if you can
You're
get
not gonna have him
if you
guard.
can get another big guy to play next to him, like
Yeah.
you could play Victor at small forward and some power forward stuff.
I mean Victor
Victor
can
can
play
play
any
any
position.
yeah.
I don't think he's a passer, like an
But
excellent
yeah,
passer yet.
but
yeah.
but he can get.
But he has some nice
I
passes too.
think he will get it.
I mean, overall, honestly, I think most of these players that we're talking about, I mean, besides Vassell and Johnson, they're probably small forward and up, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, we've got a few positional players.
And we haven't even mentioned Malachi Branham, who looked really good last year.
Blake Wesley,
Blake West,
who's insanely good in defense and
Yeah.
could score. Devontae Graham.
Yeah, we have
Josh
Josh
Primo.
Trey Jones, obviously, right? He's still there. Primo,
Fire.
Devontae Graham
that is
was
true.
actually a really, really good scorer last season.
Yeah.
He was really
Romeo
good.
Langford.
If you can say healthy.
Bathy. I like Bathy.
Oh yeah,
Bassey
Bassey was a
was
good big man too. Dominic Barlow showed he can play too.
First player of champion.
Oh yeah, Julian Champagne.
Yeah, he was really good.
We have some good guys that we can Champagne is. Or at least what the commentators said. That's the
Barlow was
commentators.
the first guy to come out of like OT, right?
Was he?
Barlow was the guy.
Overtime. Yeah, he was.
That's
Yeah,
a-
overtime,
Yeah, yeah.
OT.
Or was he?
That was Barlow.
I don't remember, but I know his
Ah,
debut was great, and
Yeah.
he showed up at the end of the season when they played him. He played phenomenal. Whether that's just excitement or actually, there's multiple factors of what it could be.
Yeah.
But he showed that he can play and he has potential.
It's gonna be fun.
How far it leads, who knows? But there's potential in trying to play in the season.
Yeah, we're gonna move on, I think, to the second pick, Rockets.
Charlotte.
Oh,
Charlotte.
gosh.
Rockets are 4.
Alright,
We're going back.
what do they want? I'll have either one.
So my philosophy, and this also has led to a difference in opinion. So like last year, Sacramento 4th pick, the top 3 picks were kind of set. We didn't know which order, but they were set. And it was Ivy or Keegan Murray. I was all in on Ivy. I thought he was the best player available. Keegan Murray was the right pick, obviously.
Well, that was 4th pick, right? That was-
Yeah.
You said top 3.
I said top 3 was set.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
the 4th pick,
Yeah.
And so in my opinion, I'm always the best player available guy. But if it's this close, I think you gotta go fit
Mhm.
in terms of talent. I think Brandon Miller's gonna be the next Paul George type of guy.
Yeah, honestly, Paul's all.
Solid shooter, solid handle, not the as explosive Paul George, but also a good passer.
I think Paul George is the best comparison. But and they have LaMelo Ball, Dennis Smith Jr., who actually did crazy well. They have Terry Rozier,
Mark Williams.
Gordon Hayward, get Brandon Miller in their lineup. It is nasty.
Nick Richards, PJ Walker. I don't know if you said that.
I don't know.
It-
Who knows what's gonna happen to Richards? I've heard rumors for a few months now. Maybe he'll go back to Charlotte. Maybe he'll end up somewhere else if he comes back. Who knows?
It's interesting though, because I'm going pretty fast ahead though. Where's Portland draft? They don't need to go, right?
Well, so here's let's say Charlotte goes Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
You gotta take Scoot. Or you
Honestly,
I've heard a lot of trade rumors for Portland.
Yeah.
Take Scoot or maybe trade him. Or trade Anford. I think he has a lot of value.
Well, so here's what I've seen, like mock trades. You trade pick 3, maybe Anthony Simons for Pascal Siakam for
I've heard Joel
For,
and trades too.
I've heard. If Joel becomes available, I think Portland has the best package in
Yeah,
terms of
probably.
Anthony.
And I think that could work well if they keep Dame at the ball handler and their main guy. He'll find Joel.
I think Dame's the perfect player to pair with Joel.
I think
Vice versa. Say they decide to trade Dame, trade Dame to Philadelphia for Tyrese Maxey. I know that's another guard, but I think he's gonna be really good.
I don't know
Dame for Joel. And then they draft Scoot.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think Joel would want that. But
Yeah.
if
yeah,
was
but I don't.
Portland,
I think they're probably, from what I've heard, they're probably more likely right now to trade Joel than Maxey though.
no way.
I mean,
Maxey's nice, but he's not.
if they lose Harden though, and he
If they lose
becomes a
Harden, they
bigger
have to
option
keep-
for them, he'll be really nice.
Yeah,
and
but
he's young.
he is young.
Younger at least.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But I think if they had an opportunity to pair Dame with Joel, they got to
Mm-hmm.
take it.
And they're losing Nurkic, right? to Free agency.
No, he got extended.
They did. Yeah, actually.
So
We're just gonna go with this theory right now.
Yeah.
Brandon Miller, Stu, whatever.
Without any trades.
Okay, so fourth then, Rockets.
So we've heard the rumors Harden might be coming to Houston.
They have Ime Udoka now.
I don't think they will though.
Yeah, I don't like it,
I
but
think Harden likes Sixers. I think he's pretty good with the Sixers in my opinion.
but let's just say Harden goes to Houston. I've also heard rumors that they would trade Jalen Green because I don't know how well Harden and Jalen Green would work. And then what do you do with the 4th overall pick? Because if you're bringing in Harden to play with this young core, they don't own next year's pick. That belongs to OKC.
I'd say draft a big on the fourth pick.
There's not really any. There's Jerice Walker, Taylor Hendricks,
Yeah, I can't think.
Lively. That's a little too early. I think they could get him at 20.
Yeah.
They could possibly
But,
just
like-
trade back a little bit.
Yeah.
But trade that pick for a big.
Yeah.
A very valuable pick.
Obviously we've heard the Jalen Brown rumors.
Mhm.
I don't know if they would like a Jalen Green. They wouldn't.
No.
We're gonna say there's no trade. I don't think Harden will actually end up there. So we're gonna say the Rockets don't pick. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no Harden.
let's say that scenario, I think they take,
And then Thompson.
and then Thompson. For their point guard of the future. He reminds me of it's like a big John Morant, obviously level-headed though.
For now.
For now.
He's big into social media too, so.
Yeah, but he's not.
He's
Yeah,
not
but being
putting
big in the
nothing
social
on it.
media, and being big in the guns.
Yeah, but I think Amen Thompson's the perfect fit. But that's if Harden doesn't come. Even if he does come, maybe have Harden
Yeah.
mentor Thompson. I don't know
Yeah.
if Harden's the mentor type. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
But I mean, I agree. I think a big is probably the best way to go. So I think it'd be very smart for them to look at whether it's trading for a big or whether it's trading back a little bit to draft a big,
Yeah.
Because I feel like they have a few guards. They're pretty good on forwards. Maybe get a forward,
Well,
but
so I've had, I mean, a lot of people like Şengün. They compared to Jokic. I'm not on the Şengün. He's terrible on defense. I mean, he's really bad on defense.
His play style like Jokic.
I see where the comparison
on
comes from.
offense.
I
He's
see
like a
the
coordinator
comparison,
Jokic,
but I disagree.
I have a hard time seeing him play in the playoff, being taken advantage of and hitting low. I mean, we saw what Steven Silas last year. Obviously, Steven Silas wasn't a great coach, but he benched Şengün in fourth just because he couldn't play.
Yeah.
I
think
that's the problem.
makes sense.
Obviously, the guy that should have played Şengün to get him used to that, but he didn't.
Hey, if you have Boban though, you might have played.
Yeah, I think we're just moving on to fifth pick, right?
Yeah. Detroit.
I think it's all. They need a small.
Azar would be.
They have Boyan. He's been pretty good though, but he's old. He's getting
Well, I
older.
think you could get some nice compensation.
That's
for it
true.
If they do end up taking this or,
It's true.
and I think it's a good fit. He reminds me
Yeah.
of like a Andre Iguodala type.
Yeah.
Just solid all around.
Lakers.
Yeah, kind of like a smaller Blazer.
Yeah. No, I think it's our time for the best pick there. I don't think
Yeah, but then just also with teams as well, I'm curious with all these coaches that have been fired, and obviously right that leads to plenty of open spots for coaches. Who will land where? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And especially right now, right? I mean, the Spurs technically, Pop is kind of open, but they're probably gonna resign him. They're definitely not gonna just let him go. It's on him.
It
At
would
the
be
end of the
very
day.
unfortunate if he doesn't.
But I have
If he doesn't, I would want to, like, all right. She's one of
Becky
those.
Hammond.
Becky,
Yeah, I
I
heard-
want to get her back.
I heard rumors of Becky Hancock coming back, and then I've also heard rumors of I don't remember what team it was. It might have been the Bucks, but there was some team interviewing JJ Redick as the head coach too. Was it the Raptors?
Yeah.
And I think he could be actually a pretty good coach.
I would want him to be.
He's a smart guy. He knows what he's talking about.
I would want him. To be
I could see him, and he was even the Sixers player too. But I think that's interesting too. If JJ Redick ends up coming into that head coaching portal as a bigger option in general, and then with GMs, Bob Myers.
Oh, Bob Myers. Is great.
Wizards are eyeing him. He
I
might
think
not
he's
come back to Golden State.
So I've also heard
That would be interesting. He's a good
Young,
GM.
the Sun general manager and kind of hot water. New
Oh, yeah.
ownership. You gotta.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard Matt Ishbia. He's trying to really
Bob
get
Myers
his crew
would
around
be
him.
interesting.
Wizards are eyeing him too. I mean,
Myers, I think, would change a lot. of stuff.
exactly. I mean, he's
I
a
think you
good
trade
GM.
KD,
I don't know.
maybe keep Devin Booker.
He might trade
Paul.
Ayton.
There's no way you can trade him. And
Not yet, at least. Yeah.
you
I don't
trade
know.
DeAndre and
That's
Paul.
Paul. Yeah.
try to just
Get
throw-
a youngster, maybe a little more young player.
But that's interesting. I'm wondering if he ends up actually leaving or not.
Yeah.
Because if he does, that could be really good for whatever he gets.
Well, they made him a record offer.
Yeah.
The Warriors did. So we'll see if he accepts.
But either way, that'll be. As of right now, he's still on the table. So that'll be interesting. See if he leaves or not.
So I want to talk about just a couple rumors going on along. OKC looking to trade up according to who was it? I can't remember. Some OKC insider. They're looking to trade up. Obviously Houston's looking to trade Jalen Green. I think that was Shams, or maybe that was Jake Fisher. I can't remember. Anyway, we talked about that. But if OKC were to trade up or trade their pick, who do you think they should target? What kind of player?
Ooh. I mean, possibly.
They can just fall forward.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they're trading up, I don't know. Because honestly, I think one of the things they should look at the most is getting, like you said earlier, another big body next to Chet.
Mhm.
They don't have that.
And it doesn't
already.
even necessarily have to be a center, just someone that's like big.
Just a bigger body. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be a center. If it's a center, then
6'10",
that's good
6'9".
too. But just a bigger body to help him or take his spot on defense sometimes, right? Like just a bigger, good defender at the least.
Well,
I think.
I don't know if you guys know much about him, but Jerice Walker out of Houston. He's 6'8", 240. He's a power forward. I think he's the perfect fit next to
That could be really nice.
next to
Chet.
Chet. And the Thunder have worked him out.
Jay Will right now center. He's 6'7".
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't
Jerice
like him
Walker.
that much as a starting center. I mean, he probably won't be if Chet comes back, but
Um,
I think there's
good though.
limits to Jay Will.
Good.
I mean, I think he needs to be a backup.
I
yeah,
agree.
for sure.
I agree. But I think he has a lot of potential.
For sure.
And I don't, especially against some bigger teams, I don't want J Dub starting at that power forward position either. Just because of size.
So yeah, in that situation, say they trade up to like 5 or 6, draft Jerice Walker. Do they move Dort to the bench?
That's the other question. Who would they move to the bench for that?
I mean,
I mean, I
think
guess
out of
probably-
the core, you got to move Dort, but
Yeah.
Dort's just so important on defense. We saw it during the play.
I mean, he'll get starter minutes still,
Yeah.
but he probably won't be in that starting lineup.
I think he showed his value on a national stage in the play-in. Obviously, he's scored a ton.
And even NBA superstars have been saying that he is one.
He was voted the second best defender in the Ringer, or not the Ringer, the Athletics NBA player poll behind Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. Let's see some other rumors. The Pistons apparently have no idea who they're hiring as head coach. They had a final 3, but then they interviewed them and none of them stood out.
Did they move Casey up, right?
Yeah.
To the front office?
Yeah. So they are reopening their head coach search apparently.
That's interesting.
Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
Or the Bucks. I think the Bucks should get Nick Nurse, in my opinion.
I think
I did too.
Bucks would
I
be
think he's the best
good
fit.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah, there's plenty of openings right now with head coaches. And then too, right, maybe JJ Redick comes along into more teams view. Maybe Becky Hammond comes along more too. I don't know exactly what her position is. I think she's more just looking at Spurs, but who knows? Maybe she decides, maybe I'll try to help.
I think the Raptors interviewed her.
Oh yeah, sure. I think they did. Yeah. But that there's interesting. There's a few. Obviously, the head coach that got fired, and then a few other candidates coming in too. So someone isn't going to be here anymore.
There's also been rumors that the Suns are trying to pry away Ty Lue.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know
about
how
that too.
realistic that is, but I mean, if I'm Ty Lue, I think the Suns are a better situation than the Clippers.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what happens off season, right? And then with if the Celtics get eliminated, there's some possibly really interesting things that could happen there, depending on how many games they get eliminated to. I think whether it's a sweep or 7, I think will make a lot of difference. And then Lakers too, if they get eliminated, also I think it depends a little bit about how many games, but I think at the end of the day, for them, if they get eliminated, there will be changes made. Question is how big and what kind, whether it's just coaching or whether it's coaching and few players or few players. But I feel like with the Nuggets, if they do get eliminated, I don't think too much happens there.
Yeah.
And the Heat, I mean, I think they're always down to get bigger players.
Well,
but I don't think they'll be looking for a change.
Even if the Heat do win, I think they gotta make changes. Just because Kyle Lowry's up there in age, he can start to retire.
That's true. Maybe point guard.
I don't
think
point guard is for sure.
I don't think it'll work again.
Yeah. I mean, well,
I think
they'll
a replacement point guard.
Yeah.
Would be great.
Yeah.
Melo.
Maybe a backup big. Maybe even though I guess they've Gertz and they just have.
If the Lakers don't make this finals,
Well,
I don't think Melo.
even if they do,
Well, the question too is Reeves. How much does
so
he
you
want
got to
money?
prioritize Reeves, in my opinion. And he's going to get a lot of money. He could get as much as like 5 years, 98 million.
Yeah,
think
I
that's
think something like that.
And
That's
he's
the
going
thing
to
too. How much will you prioritize that money over spending in LA, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
the
mean,
other
so I think LA can match, but
Probably.
they'll have no cap space.
Yeah.
And I think if they don't
That's
bring
the
back
question
either
is-
Reeves, D'Lo, or they also have Hachi Murray, who's a free agent.
Oh, it's
I think
true.
he's a must bring back. But if they don't bring back any of those guys, they have I think a max spot potentially.
So like
They go after like a Kyrie. I don't. We've seen that they're not interested, but we know that.
We know LeBron and Kyrie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be
Kyrie
great.
photo to the-
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see for sure. Also, there's some other rumors. Nets are likely to trade one of their picks for a proven scorer or a rebounder,
Oh yeah, I heard they might even trade with Portland too for Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
If they get a good enough package.
which, if you're Brooklyn,
How smart is that?
well, so if you're Brooklyn, you're either getting Scoot or Brandon Miller. Is Brandon Miller going to be better than Mikal Bridges? I think they could be about the same.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
It's interesting. Patriots may look to shop pick 7. They're kind of in a weird spot. With all the amazing prospects are gone, and then I don't know. They're in a weird spot. I could see them trading up or trading down for more assets.
Yeah, but I feel like
Or maybe like a Buddy Hield pick 7 combination
that's true.
for a proven 4. Or
Yeah, I was
or-
about to say they could really use the forward in general, but especially a power forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're kind of an interesting spot there too at number 7. I agree.
Mhm. Also, I think Carlton Towns rumors have been heating up a little bit. Obviously, I think Portland with pick 3 has been a popular
Yeah,
discussion point. I don't know if I like that if I'm Portland, but
yeah,
I just don't think Cat's a huge difference
that's
making
true.
the playoffs at least.
yeah, especially on the
Um,
playoffs.
Yeah,
And I mean, even the regular season. I mean, you have people that can score threes. You have people that can play defense in that position. You have Grant. You have Thibault. I mean, you have people that can play defense. You have people that can score threes and Grant.
that's
You have
also,
Sharp, Simons, right? Threes. They don't lack on threes.
that's also interesting. Jeremy Grant's a free agent.
That's true.
So
So I guess he might.
does
be-
he come
might
back to
walk.
Portland? Does he walk? Is it a sign and trade type scenario? I think what Jeremy Grant does, or what he intends to do, is really going to alter what Portland is. That's that third overall pick.
true. That's
Obviously, free agency is after the draft, but if you could figure out what is
He
going on
wants
with
to do,
Jared,
what is-
Jeremy Grant, I think that influences what you do with Dame, with the way if you
Trade.
trade the third pick. I mean,
True.
also Chris Middleton leaning towards coming back to the Bucks.
Yeah, I heard the Bucks might have to let a
Yeah.
few guys walk too,
Like
whether it's
Lopez.
Lopez, Middleton. There's a few people that they might have to let walk too. So that'll be interesting, or that they might choose to walk.
yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting off.
Interesting, excited for the conference playoffs, the rest of the conference finals.
Yeah,
Let us know what your takes are, your opinions on that. How many games it takes, who wins.
Check out the Instagram posts, basically daily, just hot takes, fun, reels, stuff like that. See you later.
yeah.